Sonic 1, the first game in the Sonic series, and in my opinion, definitely not the best. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today, because today I will be ranking all the zones, excluding Final Zone, for being just a boss, not a real zone. But that's enough wasting your guys' time, and let's just get right into it. Green Hill Zone, Sonic's most iconic zone, and appearing in many games after this. With the iconic Loop Cube and the first ever Sonic boss, this zone really has a lot going for it. I mean, it's fun, it's fast, and it does a great job showing Sonic's most iconic attribute, his speed. I guess if I have a problem, then it would be the section in Act 2 where you're jumping on the platforms above the spikes. And I'm not the biggest fan of the Buzz Bomber, but other than those two issues, I think it's the best zone in the game, and in my opinion, it definitely deserves an S tier. Marble Zone. If I had to describe this zone in just 2 words, it would be slow and boring. Because that's how I and many other people view this zone. There's not that many positives to say, other than the boss being an absolute cakewalk. It's definitely not the worst zone, considering, Labyrinth Zone exists. Although it does kind of suck that we went from the high-paced action in Green Hill Zone to the slow-paced block section in Marble. I get they were trying to prepare the player for the later zones, but it still doesn't excuse it. So overall, Marble Zone is definitely the slowest zone in the game, and in my opinion, it definitely deserves a C tier. Spring Yard Zone. In my opinion, it's definitely the most underrated zone. The main gimmick of this zone is, just like the title says, springs and bumpers. These 2 attributes can make the zone quite chaotic. Just take a look at this. Beauty. The springs did a good job at speeding things up, but what slows the zone down for me is the slow-paced cube sections. But I do think the boss is pretty good. Another annoying part was the spike ball spinning around the platform. The fast one was okay, but the slow one was pretty annoying. But I do like the aesthetic of the mountains and the buildings in the background. And I also really like the color scheme. But we can't forget about the absolutely amazing Cope sign! And the robot that thinks he's Sonic. Overall, Spring Yard Zone is a pretty decent zone with only a couple flaws, and in my opinion, it definitely deserves a B tier. Labyrinth Zone is the worst zone in the game. I don't know who thought this zone should have ever been released. This zone is an absolute crime to humanity. This is literally the reason why water levels always get a bad reputation in Sonic games. And here's a not so fun fact. This was originally supposed to be the second zone in the game. Thank God they changed that decision. I wish there was a version of this game where Labyrinth Zone didn't exist. But there are 2 positives. A, not being underwater, and B, the fact that there are shortcuts in Act 1 and 3. And of course I can't forget about peak anxiety. And I didn't even mention the boss. It's this annoying section where you have to climb all the way to the top to catch Eggman. 1 minute you can have a great run, the next minute this can happen. After thinking about it, I need to do something. Yeah, that's a lot better. Starlight Zone. In my opinion, this is definitely the second best zone in the game, and arguably the fastest zone, and probably has my favorite theme in the game, with the whole city at night aesthetic. It also has a really good soundtrack, so just take a listen. It's also the first first ever zone to utilize the seesaw mechanic as seen in the boss and as seen in parts of the zone. There's also this extremely random half spike ball that acts like a swing. Now those were all the positives, so let's get into the negatives. First up, we have this guy returning from Labyrinth Zone, except he doesn't shoot his spikes. This fan, which isn't that annoying, unless combined with this guy, who you can't attack at all and only blows up. Even though I say it's negative, it's honestly not that bad. So, with that out of the way, this is a really good zone, and in my opinion, it should definitely deserve an A tier. Labyrinth Zone. This zone is unique for having different aesthetics for each act. First, we have Act 1, which has a cool outside aesthetic with what looks like a roboticized city in the background. And it starts off with a path that either leads down or right, and later has these platforms that spin at the bottom and stay still at the top. And there are these cool pipes that shoot fire out. And once we pass the signpost, we get taken inside Tagman's lair for Labyrinth Zone Act 2. This act introduces the spinning circle that goes faster when curled up into a ball, and introduces these cool travel pipes, and these conveyor belts that have saws on the top. It also brings back the bomb guys from Starlight Zone and the caterpillars from Marvel. With that being said, it's a pretty good final zone. Before this goofy egg guy decides to send us down to Labyrinth Zone Act 4. I mean, it's literally just Labyrinth Zone with a coat of paint. Why did the developers do this? The only positive is that they put a shortcut at the beginning of the act. But other than that, it's just Labyrinth Zone Act 4. If Act 3 was just like Act 2, it would be an A tier. But because it's just like Labyrinth Zone, it gets a B tier. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and stay tuned for next time where I rank all the zones in Sonic CD.